Nabuera. I think it was Nabuera, the wife. Staff. Yes.
The trip down memory lane is anything but ordinary on Elizabeth Madoka's lane, and especially if that trip allows you to bump into memories of a man who was then only a small baby, but who now is the country's 4th president, Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
My Day with Elizabeth Mumbi Madoka, the late President Mzee Jomo Kenyatta's first and only secretary, filled with joy and laughter, and for her especially, seeing that her job allowed her to raise a child that eventually grew up to clinch the country's top job.
Unbelievable. Yeah, you know, it's really unbelievable. Yes, he's the same person you're holding hard, going around. Now he's the head of state. Even yesterday, ooh, I felt like, my Lord. But I was happy. I was happy.
Then a young fair lady, she had just won the Miss Uhuru pageant on the 14th of December 1963, just 2 days after Jamhuri Day. It was a year later, in 1964, when she received a call by a man who then was not only her father's friend, but also the nation's then Prime Minister, to come work for him.
Around March, April, that's when I joined the Prime Minister. Mzee Kenyatta was Prime Minister then. And then that's when I was employed as Social Secretary.
It first began as an office job for Elizabeth, who had just come from a clerical job at Barclays Bank. But slowly, she began working at home for Mamangina Kenyatta, and it was then that she met young Uhuru. Her duty then to drop him off school at 8 in the morning and pick him up later at 3 p.m.
I always feel that we used to have very nice conversation. He was very curious all the time, asking questions, especially when he is running about it before independence. There was the Mau Mau, and the father was detained for so many years. Same with his mother by the colonial government. And so he was always keen to know those things, how his father is connected.
Elizabeth says that even in his younger days, Uhuru was his father's favorite.
Was always with Uhuru, and even when he's walking, I could see he likes walking with Uhuru. When they come to State House and he's on his desk, he always bring Uhuru next to him. So Uhuru will be there if you want to play about with whatever is in Muzee's desk. He was free to do so. Or if you wanted to ask him any question, he was free to do that.
Such close relations between father and son, what Elizabeth says, so much of the late Mzee Jomo Kenyatta's traits rub off on his son Uhuru.
Even when he started going around, the first time he started going, I felt it and I rang him and we talked and I told him, we are feeling like your father has come back alive. He's like, your father is around. His voice around, his way of speaking is his own father. It's only his left-handed. Mzee was not. Only now he doesn't have the fly whisk.
Elizabeth, who the family fondly refers to as Mumbi, says that she loved the Kenyatas most for their discipline and respect for others, what even saw her over time establish a strong bond with Mamangina.
And Mamangina, of course, we are very close. For all those years, we traveled so many places all over the world, and all those 15 years, we lived as sisters and as a member of the family.
To Elizabeth, Uhuru is more than just the country's 4th president.
My son, to be honest, even everybody, like today, everybody is saying, oh, your son, your child. Let's say your child. Oh, your child is the one on top. You know, they're telling me all these things because many know my connections with him. And I say, yes, my child has won. Yes, he is a winner, he's the president.
And she strongly believes that he will deliver as much as his late father, if not more.
No, he's capable and he will deliver it. And he will give people surprises because I feel he's also blessed in many other knowledge He has that his father's knowledge.
Her 15-year working relationship with the Kenyattas did not only ensure she interact with the country's first family, it also saw her meet the love of her life, retired Major Marsden Madoka, then Mzee Jomo Kenyatta's aide de camp, the youngest captain in the Kenya Army. Together, the two interacted and saw the Kenyattas grow. Years later, and a man who worked for Kenyatta between March 1996 and May 1967, and who eventually joined politics as Motate Member of Parliament and Foreign Affairs Minister, says he would work with Uhuru and be convinced that he was an exemplary leader.
I mean, really, it started coming when President Moi started talking about him becoming president. In fact, I remember that I was flying with President Moi between Johannesburg and here, and this is the time he hadn't quite stated that he wanted Uhuru to be the president. But we sat in that jet of his, and he was explaining to me why he felt that Uhuru should be the president.
For the Madokas, their life and times, what today they look back with nostalgia, having had history formed right before their eyes. Evelyn Wambui, Citizen Live at 9.